What is happening, people? Canelo Alvarez, Caleb Plant. Let's break it down. First of all, apologies for the office attire. I am still at work, but this is such a good fight. I had to give you guys some content. I had to break it down for my own personal benefit. Let's get into it. I mean, look, first thing I've got to say, I am very, very impressed with Caleb Plant. He was moving really well early, and he was picking his shots beautifully. He was moving his feet well. He was pumping that jab out. He was confusing Canelo enough, whereby Canelo found it very difficult to get into a rhythm. And I like the balls on him, man. Caleb Plant was happy to sit there in the pocket against the ropes and look for the shots, parry them, block them, and then fire that right hand back. And there was a beautiful example of it in round 2, which we're going to see here. Just waiting patiently. Block left hook to the body, block left hook to the head, and then throw that right hand, and then he's off. And that is exactly how Floyd Mayweather was doing it against Canelo. But I mean, look, the things that I feel like Caleb Plant could have done better, I feel like his distance management wasn't always the best. It was the best for picking punches and moving, but it wasn't the best for firing back. And we all know somebody like Canelo, who's a pressure fighter, you need to get him to respect you a little bit. Give him that, just something to think about, otherwise he's just going to cut him charging in. And I feel like sometimes Caleb Plant will crowd his work. He'd be eager to throw straight shots, but from in the pocket. And either, if you're going to be in the pocket, you pick shots and throw uppercuts, you throw hooks, or you get that distance. Do what Floyd Mayweather did, and take that half step back, or barge with your elbow, shove away, and throw a 1-2, or throw a right hand. If you're throwing your shots here, you're crowding your work, you're going to waste energy, you're not going to do enough to give him that pop to make him think about what he's doing. And we saw that, unfortunately, here. Throwing that jab nice a bit. He's throwing that 1-2 from way too close. And you can see straight away what Canelo answers with, which is right hooks and left hooks. But look, Canelo's a very smart guy. He did what all great fighters do, and he adapted in there. And he found that, you know, it's not easy to pin him down and fire that right hand away. So what am I going to do? I'm going to switch to the left hand. And he's able to roll that right hand very easily. But some of these left hooks to the head, left hooks to the body, and jabs, they are getting through half. And we could see that in a few areas. And Canelo in his corner obviously smart enough to realise the longer that fight goes on, even though I might be catching him half the time, accumulation, which is eventually what happened and how things ended. But look, if we see here, that left hook, bam. And Caleb Plant recovered very nicely off that, but you can tell it caught him half on the gloves, half high on the head, and you cannot be affording to take punches repetitively like that from Canelo, because he's too big and strong, especially at 168. And I mean, look, where Floyd was able to have some success, first of all, he was smart. He fought him at a lower weight. I think it was 154. So just drain him a little bit of that natural weight he has. And also, it meant that Floyd was big enough to sort of discipline him with his right hand and make him just think about what he's doing. I think 168, Canelo Alvarez is a handful for anybody. But yeah, we can see here, of course, that left hook. But not only that, he starts throwing that jab, and then the left hook off the jab. And then obviously crowding. Now, Caleb Plant is a big, tall super middleweight. And I was impressed with how physically strong he was in there. He was not letting Canelo push him back in the clinch as much as we've seen other fighters. But he wasn't doing enough actual reactive work, per se, to be winning the fight. He was elusive, and that was the best for him. But what he needed to be better at was actually throwing, catching, getting a little bit of respect, and getting that distance control down. But, you know, Canelo, being the great fighter that he is, spotted that he could throw that left hand, and we can see here, at the beginning of the end, caught him high on the head with that left hook. And we'll see in slow motion there. Boom. Exactly what he's been catching him with before. Right uppercut, left hook to the body. And Caleb Plant did very well to get up, but, you know, the finale of this was another left hook to the chin to wobble him. And I think at this point, look, Caleb Plant's just out on his feet. He's fighting on pure instinct. I think here it doesn't become thinking anymore. And Canelo, obviously, he knows he's got him in trouble because then that right hand comes into play and he goes for it. But all in all, look, I'm very impressed with Caleb Plant. I think he gave a good account of himself. He should be proud of himself. He fought well. Canelo is, at the moment, the best pound for pound. He will go up there as an all-time great. At the moment, he looks unstoppable. The only person that I think, well, he's retired now, but the only person that I feel at 168 that really would give him some trouble and possibly would have had a chance of beating him would be Andre Ward in more recent history. But look, at the moment, I'm eager to see what he does next. Does he march on up and go to light heavyweight and see if he can hang there? I think light heavyweight is where it starts to get a little bit, he's not quite big enough for light heavyweight. I mean, I know he knocked out Kovalev, but Kovalev has passed his prime. And yeah, look, he's the man at the moment. Viva Mexico. But yeah.